right, thank you, Mike, and thank you everyone for being here on a fantastic day in my book. So very exciting. So I'm going to repeat a little bit of Mike did, but I wanted to make sure to thoughtfully welcome Fran's family. We're very excited to have you join our family. This is a very talented family. For those of you that have not met the family, we've got Margaret, Fran's wife, his sons Connor, Patrick, and Jack, and his daughter Merritt. And after what I learned this morning, I do believe that Margaret might be the best athlete in the family. So I'm just going to put that out there for all of you that want to do your research. She might be the best athlete in the family. I want to thank university leadership for being a part of this. I want to thank our Executive Vice President, Craig Carnaroli, and John Jackson, our provost, for joining Fran for breakfast this morning and being a part of this process. I do want to thank our basketball board members who are here today. I appreciate your leadership and the investments you've made in this program and honestly getting this program to a better place. I want to thank our current athletes who are here. I'm sure it's been a challenging transition, but I'm hopeful that you guys are as excited as I am. I want to thank our former student athletes. We have quite a few celebrated former student athletes in the audience, so thank you for being a part of this historic day. I want to thank a few of my colleagues, Rudy Fuller and Josh LaRosa, who helped me navigate this journey. It was exciting at times and nerve-wracking at times, but obviously we're thrilled with the outcome. And now I want to talk a little bit about Fran, and obviously his history. I do draw your attention to this lovely little piece because I'm going to repeat all this because it's worthy of repeating, but it really is a testament to his accomplishments over the course of his career and a huge part of why we're excited to have him come home. So don't lose sight of this. But I'm going to run it through quickly because, again, it's that impressive. Now, it's just actually for a minute, he doesn't really have a little bit of playing career on here, but from a playing career perspective, led Penn in assists and steals as a senior in the season 81-82, won 3 Ivy titles and made 2 NCAA appearances. And he's, as been mentioned, he's had success on the Division I level, again, throughout his career. 15 years at Iowa, all-time winningest coach at Iowa, 11 postseason appearances, national ranking as high as 3rd. Great success at Siena, 3 straight conference titles and NCAA appearances, 6 seasons at UNC Greensboro with a conference championship, 11 years at Notre Dame where we met Margaret and landed this beautiful family, also with multiple NCAA appearances, and 3 years as a head coach at Lehigh that also resulted in an NCAA appearance. So again, the record speaks for itself, but I have to tell you, beyond the record, what really came through in working with Fran through this process is just his commitment to his players and just the intensity with which he wants to develop, relationship build, and do everything in his power to make them not only the best basketball players they can be, but to really holistically develop them. Now, obviously, do we have a lot of confidence in the X's and O's, the tactical, the technical? No question. And, you know, just obviously the recruiting, the player development pieces, they all came through in really impressive ways through this process. But I have to say, what is really, really impressive is just his commitment to the men that he's coached over time, and what I know and trust will be the commitment to the young men in our program. So that makes me incredibly excited for our future, knowing that that's how he's wired. And just so all of you know, and I hope that you didn't doubt it, but this is a university that's committed to success in this program. And we have done and will continue to do everything we can to get us back to a place where we're competitive year in and year out. And we're all excited for a future filled with Ivy League titles and NCAA tournament appearances. And I trust that Fran's the guy to get us there. So without further ado, it is my great pleasure to introduce Fran McCaffery as the next John R. Rockwell head coach of Penn basketball. Congrats again. Thrilled to have you come home. All right. And we've got this lovely little jersey that I think might still fit. Want the hanger? Take the hanger off. Yeah. let's lose that. All right, it's all yours, Fran.
I just want to start off by thanking President Jameson, Provost Jackson, and Alana for the incredible way that you've responded to me in this entire process. It could not have been more professional, and it's something that makes me really excited, Alana, to work with you and partner with you to do exactly what you just said. I appreciate you mentioning my family, who have been such an incredible part of my journey. This is beyond, I would say, a proud moment for me. I think back, we used to sit right here for decades. My brother, my parents. We would watch Penn basketball and all the Big Five teams. Being from Philadelphia, not ever knowing if I would get to play here. And of course, not ever knowing if I would ever get to coach here. My dad, he worked security. He would sit over in this corner for many, many years. He knew every coach, every player, every official. And this building was such a huge part of my life. I'm going to tell you why I'm a basketball coach. I didn't come to the University of Pennsylvania with that thought in mind. Like a lot of people, I wanted to graduate from Wharton, go work on Wall Street, something like that. But everything was nurtured right here by Coach Weinhauer. I'm so thankful that he's here today, because he has been the #1 reason and the person that gave me purpose to enter this business and follow his lead. He was demanding, but he was a phenomenal teacher. And I'll tell you, incredibly fair. But to sort of echo what Alana just said, the thing that made him special to me, we knew he loved us. We knew he cared about us, and our health and welfare was at the forefront of everything that he wanted for us. Yeah, he wanted to win. He wanted to win badly, and so did we. But it was that example that propelled me to this journey. How many times, I can't tell you how many times I would get on the bus after a game. First person to text me, every game I've coached at Iowa or Siena. And he would have some advice occasionally, which was usually right on the money. But I want him to know what it feels like to follow in his footsteps. Love you, Coach. I had the good fortune to work for Craig Littlepage in my first coaching job. He gave me a chance. I coached the JV team with Tommy Crowley, who's here. He was my host when I visited. Craig's one of the most respected people in our industry, and I will be forever thankful that he gave me that opportunity to not only work on his staff, but be the head coach of the JV team and learn and grow. I want to recognize Fran Dunphy, a dear friend for 30 years. He's here today. One of the best to ever do it here, one of the best to ever do it anywhere. Just an incredible person and another great example. Some of my teammates are here. And it's such an incredible feeling for me to have them here, because the experience that I want these guys to have right here is you are teammates for life. You are brothers for life. And that's what this experience is, and that's what it will be if you play for me, when you play for me. I also want to recognize Steve Donahue, a dear friend, been a good friend of mine for 25 years. Terrific basketball coach, better person. Been incredibly gracious through this process, and anybody that's played for him will tell you they were thankful for that opportunity. So I want to make sure that we recognize him and the job that he did while he was here. We need to recognize one of the things that Alana mentioned a minute ago. The landscape has changed. College basketball is different than it's ever been. Yes, my main focus is the health and welfare of our student athletes and maintaining the academic integrity of this institution, but not without losing sight of what the tradition of Penn basketball is and how I want to be a part of it. There's a lot of people in this room today that will help us make that happen, and we will work together. Anybody that knows my teams, and I'm not going to stand up here and repeat my resume, we're going to play fast. We're going to be up-tempo. We're going to score the ball. And what I'm going to do is encourage my guys to trust their talent and make plays. I'm not a micromanager. I let my guys play, and we prepare in practice to be better, and we prepare with our scouting to be thorough. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We will compete. We will compete in a way that was expected of us when we played here, and we will compete in a way that honors anybody that ever wore that jersey. I could not be, and I think you can see it, more excited, more proud, more emotional to be standing right here today. The cathedral of college basketball. There can be no prouder moment to be standing right here. So thank you, Alana. Thank you, University, for this incredible opportunity. And now I open it up to anybody that has any questions.
Okay, so if we have some questions, we do have a couple people with microphones. Just raise your hand, and we'll get a microphone over to you. Start with Terry in the second row. Terry, just give your name and affiliation before asking your question so the people in the crowd can know who it's coming from.
Terry Toohey, Delaware County Daily
I
Times.
think I know you.
Hi, Fran. We've known each other for a
few years.
Time. A few years. No, well, I guess what I want, how did this all come about? Did you contact them? Did they contact you? How did this all transpire?
Yeah, so I spoke to a number of people, former colleagues, just a lot of Penn people, and wanted to express my interest, which was forwarded to Alana. We had a conversation early on in the process. It was great. I think we are aligned philosophically on pretty much everything we want to do, so that conversation went really well. And the next step was a Zoom with Alana and Rudy Fuller and Josh LaRosa, who have been incredible throughout this process. And then we did an in-person interview. And that happened relatively quickly. So I think in terms of dialogue back and forth, it was making sure that Alana knew this is where I wanted to be standing. I wasn't shopping myself. There's jobs open every day. This is where I want to be, right here.
Hi, Sean McKeown of the Daily Pennsylvanian. I spoke with Craig Littlepage 2 days ago, and I asked him, how much Penn means to you. And then he, in particular, stressed how much Big Five basketball means to you and talked about how you grew up watching it. How does it feel to be part of Big Five basketball again?
When you think about, what I said a minute ago, we would sit right here every Saturday night for 10 years. They were double headers. So I loved Penn basketball. Those teams were incredible. Steve Bilski and Corky Calhoun and Ronnie Hagler, and then right up to the Final Four team. That was my first year here. We went to the Final Four with Tony Price and Bobby Willis and Booney Salters, Matt White. If you grew up anywhere within an hour from here, maybe more, you wanted to play on Channel 17. You wanted to play right here. Because not only were the inter-city series games incredibly intense and great, and we all kind of knew each other because a lot of guys from the area, but then we would take on people that came in from out of town. And the crowds were incredible. I mean, I remember, when I was playing here, we had Krzyzewskiville before they had Krzyzewskiville. Students would line up for tickets, and they would sit here. And Coach Weinhauer mentioned to me, we didn't lose much in here. The crowds and the support we got from our students was so intense, and our fan base as well. So Craig is right, and I remember watching him as I was a little bit younger than him and watched him play here. He was on undefeated teams, and then he ended up recruiting me. He was at Virginia at the time. And then I remember when he got hired. Just has been a dear friend ever since the day he offered me an opportunity. And that's all I wanted. It was essentially a volunteer position. There was no compensation, but I was able to get a PhD in basketball.
Walker Carnathan, Daily Pennsylvanian. Coach, obviously you've been a player and an assistant in the Ivy League, but what are some ways that you think this conference has changed since you were last a part of it, and what makes you excited to lead a program in the Ancient Eight today?
I think if you look at the recent history of the conference and compare it with other conferences, it stands up pretty well. Obviously you go back and it was a two-horse race every year. Not the case anymore. I think we know that. We have some challenges with regard to being a need-based institution in a world where guys are getting paid. There's still an interest. We have an incredible group of young men, and I just want to say, they were here at 7 o'clock this morning working hard on the court, in the weight room. From the minute I got here, I met with the team collectively and individually. And to a man, their commitment to being here and wanting to be here has been phenomenal. But that's what they signed up for. They recognize the value of what we offer. And that's what we're going to be selling. Yeah, okay. We didn't opt into the settlement. We get that. All right? But that doesn't mean we're going to stop competing. That doesn't mean we don't expect to play and do everything we can to beat those teams. That's what these guys want to do. And that's what they told me they want to do, and I'm going to do everything I can along with my staff to make that happen.
Tyler Ringhofer, Daily Pennsylvanian. Good morning, Coach. You reminisced about your time here at the Palestra, and I was just wondering if you could pick one moment or experience. What is one thing that you missed most about being at the Palestra?
I was talking about that last night with my wife. Is there one story, one thing? And I don't know that there is. We had such a great run. Being a part of the Final Four team was incredible. My senior year was unique. And I don't know if anybody looked it up or cared to look it up. We start the season 3-0. We won a game here. We flew to California, won the Stanford Invitational, beat Stanford. We're 3-0, flying high. We proceed to lose 9 games in a row. So we're 3-9. Okay, where do we go from here? We won 14 straight. We ran the table. We beat Penn State right here to break the 9-game losing streak. That was an incredible moment. That locker room celebration, as you can imagine, was pretty incredible. We were right there in those 9 losses. 2 points in overtime, 2 points in double overtime, 1 point losses. And we traveled. We went to Japan. We went to Albuquerque, New Mexico. We went to California. We did a lot of traveling that year. But the way that team stayed together to earn an NCAA bid, and it was strange, because normally you think an NCAA bid, you celebrate on the court, you cut the nets down. Well, we celebrated on the bus because we won. We beat Cornell to go up 2 games, and Princeton beat Columbia. But we had to wait for that score, so we literally celebrated on the bus. But I would say that Penn State game was the one.
Back here in the front row.
Excuse me, Sean McKeown again. Apologies. When talking about being back here, I think the excitement of the city and student body. We talk in the newsroom, and the Ivy League doesn't get coaches like you with your resume often. It's a momentous occasion, and it's fantastic to see an alumni come back, and it's really exciting. I want to know if you have a message for the student body and fans and Philadelphians to come back to the Palestra, to come back and bring back that joy that you spoke of, the packed arenas and the raucous crowds. What's your message to bring that energy back here?
I think it starts with the quality and character of young men we have here, and continuing to recruit talented student athletes with character. Play a style that's fun to watch. The one thing I think is kind of what your point is, basketball fans in the city are sophisticated. You can't fool them. Okay, so you got to play the game the right way. You got to compete on every possession. And a lot of times when people hear the word competing, they think it's all about physicality. No, competing is what you do with your mind. The adjustments that we make throughout the course of the game. What you see, what you read, how you can carve the other team up, and how you can put a scouting report together and execute it to perfection and win. We do that, people will come and watch. People will support us. I would say, you know what, to the students, we need you because you make a difference. And I'm looking forward to seeing this whole area filled up like it was when I was playing.
We'll take one more question if there is one. Otherwise, all right, Sean, we'll go. Actually, let's go Connor. Change it up a little bit.
Connor Smith, Philadelphia Inquirer. Nice to meet you, Fran. Kind of to go off Sean's question a little bit, with bringing in fans from the Philadelphia area, I wanted to ask about recruiting from the Philadelphia and Greater Philadelphia schools. It's kind of been something of a talk on whether social media or point of emphasis that Big Five teams are not recruiting in the Philadelphia area as much as they used to when you were playing. I was wondering, as someone who's a Philadelphia native and played here, is that something you're going to look to bring back to the program, or something that maybe you can touch on, like your own experiences?
Yeah, we both know the talent in the Philadelphia area is incredible. We will be recruiting that area hard. We are a national institution. We do have a number of players who are not from this area. We will continue to recruit nationally as well. I think we have to, but you're 100% right. I mean, the talent level, the competition level, whether it be in the prep schools, the Catholic League, the Public League, the Interact League, not only are the players really good, but the coaching is really good. And so I have relationships with a good number of those coaches, so will my assistant coaches. And we'll be constantly bringing guys to campus to look at it and get them to apply and figure out, okay, who was on this path that wants this combination of athletics and academics. You had a question?
This is more of a fun one, and I apologize. The owner of Smokes wanted me to ask, will you be bringing back the pregame meals to Smokey Joe's like back in the 70s and 80s?
I would say that would be my first choice. I don't know if our nutritionist would agree or our strength coach, but it's worth a conversation.